The early 1980s were a strange time for cars. The Malaise Era, as it was come to be called, was a decade when automakers were shackled by emission rules, safety regulations, and the lingering shock of oil crises. Performance was on its knees, and the average car struggled to find its identity beyond being a slow, uninspiring box on wheels. Into this bleak landscape, car and driver threw a flaming wrench, the Project Synchronicity CRX2, a wild experiment that doubled the engine count and the chaos in one of the lightest, quirkiest little coupes on the market. The CRX, a nimble and brilliantly packaged two-seater from Honda, was already a darling for enthusiasts thanks to its featherweight 1,850 pound curb weight and sharp handling. It was the second lightest car sold in America at the time, behind only the Chevy Sprint. But while its balanced chassis and economy-minded powertrain made it a fun little bullet, it lacked outright punch. So the idea emerged from the fringes of car and drivers' lunatic management. Why not just add another engine? And not just any engine, but a second 1.5 litre Honda 4-cylinder complete with its own automatic transmission, independent front suspension, and make that drive the wheels at the rear. This wasn't a half-baked tune-up or a turbocharger slapped on with duct tape. It was a full-scale duplication of the front drivetrain in the back of the car, effectively turning the CRX into a four-wheel drive beast powered by two independent engines running in parallel. Madness? Absolutely, but it was brilliant, without a question. Before this project got the green light, the idea of two engines working side by side inside one car was almost unthinkable. Twin engine setups had been tried before, usually with disastrous results. In automotive history, there were isolated examples like the Alfa Romeo Bimotore races from the 1930s, the Porsche Flat Sixes stacked at Indy in the 60s, and the desert-ready Citroën Saharas with two engines powering four wheels. But no one had seriously tackled the problem in a modern road-going coupe. The technical headaches were obvious. For instance, how do you synchronize two separate power plants, each with its own transmission and drivetrain? What happens if they fall out of sync? Could the car handle the extra weight and complexity without becoming a twitchy death trap? And would it even be drivable? Well, the CRX2's creators leaned heavily on the fact that the CRX was already an exceptional foundation. Its compact engine, transaxle package, and use of torsion bar front suspension gave them the flexibility to replicate the front suspension geometry at the rear. Rather than reinvent the wheel, they duplicated it, adding a second front suspension, steering rack locked in place, brakes, and drivetrain behind the cabin. This wasn't a Frankenstein's monster stitched from random parts. It was a carefully engineered parallel twin, sharing fuel supply, radiators, throttle controls, and shift linkages to keep both engines moving in harmony. The build itself was a feat of fabrication genius. Racing Beat, a specialist tuner shop in Anaheim, California, known for rotary engine work, chopped a huge hole in the CRX's rear floor plan to make room for the second powertrain. They constructed a robust frame of steel tubes to support the weight and forces, closed off the wheel wells, and sealed the powertrain bay from the passenger compartment. Custom coolant lines ran the length of the car to keep both engines from overheating, and a bespoke 10-gallon fuel cell was fitted. Now starting the car was a theatrical process worthy of a Bond villain. A special toggle switch managed the starters and selected which engine's tachometer and temperature gauges were live. You first fired up the front engine, then flipped the toggle and fired up the rear. Both engines idled in unison. Remarkably, no electronic synchronization was needed. The link between the two engines was the road itself. As long as the tires held grip, both engines spun up at the same RPM, and their automatic transmissions shifted simultaneously without fuss. If one engine worked harder, momentarily, the system absorbed it with no mechanical drama. The CRX2 was alive and it ran like a dream. Now, performance improvements were notable, if not earth-shattering. With two stock 76 horsepower engines, the total output doubled to 152 horsepower, but curb weight ballooned by around 600 pounds to 2,450 pounds. 0 to 60 miles per hour took a leisurely 8 seconds, and the quarter mile clocked in at 16 seconds with the 85 mile per hour trap speed, which is respectable, but not drag strip domination. Yet in the real world, the car could cruise effortlessly at twice the legal speed limit, climb steep hills, and power through snow and mud. Its four-wheel drive setup and broad contact patch provided traction that made it surprisingly capable of the beaten track. Handling was another matter altogether though. Initial testing revealed twitchy steering response and some understeer when only one engine was running. But through careful suspension tuning, adjusting camber, toe-in and anti-roll bars on both axles, the CRX2's chassis transformed from a nervous twitcher into a composed, capable handler. It even managed an impressive 0.82 Gs on the skid pad, which is better than the stock CRX's dry pavement grip. The twin torsion bar suspension and dual anti-roll bars gave the engineers precise control over ride height and roll stiffness, making the car surprisingly compliant for such a mechanical oddity. The brakes, however, remained the car's Achilles heel, retaining the stock 4-disc system with some minor tweaks. The CRX2 struggled to stop efficiently. I mean, this thing took 220 feet to stop from 70 miles per hour, which is a far cry from what you'd want in a car with this much power. The solution called for better valve adjustment or upgraded components, but the project unfortunately never quite got there. But despite its quirks, the CRX2 was a genuine daily driver. The interior was roomy, quiet and practical. Luggage space was surprisingly generous, spread across the 3 compartments thanks to the split powertrain layout. But the project didn't end with the 1.5 litre engine. You see, the original pair of 1.5 litre engines was soon replaced by a pair of larger 1.8 litre Honda Accord power plants, each with 4-speed automatic transmissions. This upgrade pushed the total horsepower beyond the 200 horsepower mark and brought 0 to 60 times down to a brisk 6.2 seconds. The top speed climbed to a heady 147 miles per hour. With upgraded tires, wheels and Mugen bodywork, the CRX2 was transformed from a quirky experiment to a genuine street-legal beast. It even managed to out-accelerate a contemporary Porsche 928S and Chevy Aero Camaro in mid-range acceleration tests, earning bragging rights few expected from a little Honda hatch. But the car story didn't end in the magazine shop either. As it was sold off to pay bills, it continued its strange but faithful existence on the road, clocking more than 50,000 miles without major trouble. But what makes the CRX2 project so remarkable is not just how crazy it is, but the practical reality it demonstrated. 2 engines, 2 transmissions, and 2 sets of suspension can coexist harmoniously in one compact car, connected only by the road beneath them. It shattered the notion that twin engine setups were confined to the realms of madness or impracticality, proving that sometimes doubling down can be more than just a gimmick. Of course, no sane manufacturer would ever build such a thing. The complexity, cost and added weight make it a niche curiosity, a playground for engineers with too much time and too little concern for convention. But that's exactly why this thing deserves its place in automotive history, as a bold, clever and surprisingly functional experiment that turned the humble CRX into a 4-wheeled chimera with double the heart. But at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys thought of the video and what you guys think of this car. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you guys did like it, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if it's someone's like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?